Since Stock Market Jay, he's here to give us a special episode of Lifestyle Libraries podcast, y'all. So we're gonna get to hear what it's like a day in the life of Stock Market Jay, becoming Stock Market Jay, and how he became Stock Market Jay. So if you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, just tell the people where they can find you and what you got going on while I.
Yes, sir. So what's going on, investing family? I'm Stock Market Jay, and I'm here to say today, I always bring you some news you can really use. And of course, I'm a published author. You can find my book, Beginner's Guide to Stock Market Investing, on Amazon. Of course, I've created other books that I've published and of course sell independently, a platform like Amazon, just because I don't want to give them that split. I am an investor. I am an educator. I am a community leader and an activist. Of course, one of my biggest goals is change and social change, and how we contribute to being a part of that is going to be one of my biggest philosophies. I want to ensure that, of course, I am not only a beacon of light, but I am curator of the change, and I'm a solution to the problems that exist in our communities today. And of course, I believe that through financial education, financial literacy, and of course, who you become is a great way to be able to give back. So that's a little insight in me. I've been investing since 2021. I actually started investing kind of on a whim. I had a buddy that was telling me about Doge. It was going to the moon, or was, a good way to make some money. And of course, after that, I was like, okay, let me put some money in, see how it goes, see where it goes. I invested some money. It went up. I started watching the movements of it. And I'm not a crypto investor by far. I do hold Bitcoin long term, but I was like investing. Like I said, I'm putting money in. I'm watching it go up. I mean, I'm pulling money out, and then I'm watching it go down, throw some money back in. I was just rinsing and repeating. And then, of course, once it had that big rally and it kind of bottomed out, of course, I left it alone. And I was figuring, like, what should I do with this money? I put it into some just random stocks. I don't even remember what they are. I just bought some random stocks along the way. And then, of course, after that, I ended up earning a dividend like a month later, just, totally out of the random, like out of the blue, right? And then, of course, I was like, wow, if I can make, $1, $2, $3 from not even knowing what I'm doing, just randomly buying stocks, imagine what I can do if I actually learn how to play the game. And of course, that's how I started investing, just totally on a whim, just kind of, chasing some games, getting into a game that I had no idea, knew nothing about, just because a buddy told me, hey, it's going to the moon. And I decided to educate myself based on the not even the performance, but just, the results that I had got, which was just that $1 through $3 in dividends just from owning two stocks. So that kind of was the springboard to get me to where I am now. And then, of course, I started investing and educating myself as I was doing that. Of course, I'm a natural teacher. I love to teach. So if anyone that was like following me through my journey from when I became conscious to where I, just kind of unlocked like my mind, my eyes just opened. I started learning about credit. I started learning about business. I started learning about money and investing and just these different aspects and areas of life that aren't taught to us in my community. And then, of course, every time I learned something, I would catch myself teaching people. So I said, man, I might need to. I went to a seminar. I'm real big on personal development. And of course, I don't mind paying to develop personally. I don't mind spending some money or spending my time, because you have to pay something, whether it's attention, whether it's money, energy, whatever the case may be. You have to pay something in order to get something, especially if you want to get something of any substance or, any real benefit to you. So I go to a Tony Robbins seminar. And of course, like I said, I've always been an educator. And then I was like, man, there's a guy named JT Fox. And of course, he talked about branding and, of course, creating content. And I ended up buying his and another person's, Phil Townsend's, seminars. They sold a seminar independently up there as well. I ended up buying there. I spent like $600 while I was there. I paid $1,000 to be there. And of course, I spent another 600 while I was there. And I started making content that same day when I left, because they was just talking about, becoming an authority in the space, um, how to get a best-selling book, how to create content and build a platform. And I bought a whiteboard that same day, and I got it set up, and I just got into it. I didn't try to wait for the right circumstance. I just jumped right in. And of course, here I am today. If I get an idea or a thought to do anything, typically put alarms in my phone or notes in my phone so I can go back and recall it. Or when that alarm goes off, it's like, hey, do this. Because I'm doing so much on a daily basis. You only have so much mental bandwidth, and I'm consuming a lot of information. I'm a studier, right? I've always loved to study and consume information and gain knowledge.
You're a studier? Well, apparently that is epistemology.
Yeah, that's
Never
dope.
even knew.
No, me neither. Because right now I'm actually studying time, space, and gravity, and how interconnected it is, and you know how time is relative, past, present, and future, based on space and time itself. Uh, and it's an amazing concept, and I love it, man. I love it. I love the universe and the celestial plane, and a bunch of. I'm a polymath.
Dropbox files. I've got the Hearth book. It's amazing. It's got all that in it. But I've got a lot of stuff on quantum mechanics and quantum physics. That stuff gets trippy. It's amazing, especially when you start getting into like the string theory and the quantum entanglement. That stuff gets wild.
Yeah, it
It
does.
basically it basically says that like consciousness has a direct involvement in the universe with the energy and frequencies that you were speaking on a second ago. They technically classify it as observation, and by their rules, observation means something that can be measured, right?
Hmm.
But that still would involve some consciousness to be there to measure it, right? Like at the end of the day, it all boils down to like your conscience having this. I really believe that you can completely control your reality, just depending on your subconscious and the thoughts that you turn into action.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, bro, because you're 100% right. We are creators of our own reality. I mean, the universe is mental, it's intellectual, it's consciousness in itself. And the beautiful thing about it is we are the God power that's within us. We are creative by nature, right? Yeah, think about it. What we're recording on Zoom, right? Or cell phones or laptops. Where did it come from? It came from someone's mind. Someone had to mentally create it and then, of course, manifest it through their physical actions, right? So, of course, everything that we use today, it came from someplace. It came from a thought substance, right? It came from the ether. It came from somewhere, in psyche and through awareness, right? Because awareness is all there is. And when you expand that awareness, then you have the ability to create certain things. And here's the thing that people don't understand. Everyone is self-made. It's just only the rich will admit it, right? If you're broke, then it's due to your own making. If you're well off, it's due to your own making. Where you are in life is because of you. It's because of your mindset. It's because of your habits. It's because of your disciplines, your ability to be consistent and or inconsistent. You are the maker of your life and the driver of your life. You're the author of your own story. And if you don't like where you're at in the current book you're in, then you have the ability to change what you see, right? When you change the way you think, bro, you change what you see, right? When what you put into your mind changes, the things that you see change. And that's for me personally, I used to, behave in a certain manner and I was getting a certain result. And then when I switched and transitioned, because of course I'm from Dallas. And of course, if you're familiar with the new Dallas movement and everything that's going on in the rap world, Trap Boy, Freddie and the like, I'm from Oak Cliff. Oh, it does. It does. And then where I grew up at, they actually made a couple of movies about the high school I went to, Carter High. They made a movie called Carter High. They did on Friday Night Lights. They was at the end of the school, that roguish school that was at the end, and they had the players, they had to give back the state championship because they had a bunch of players go to jail for aggravated robbery and things like that. That's where I come from. I went to prison. I was actually one of those guys that lived the street life. I don't just have these tattoos and gold teeth and battle scars for no reason. I was actually out there. I was actually active, actually have a name, and I'm quite known where I'm from for different reasons. Of course, now I'm known as a community leader, as an activist, as someone who gives back to the schools and donates, whether it's books, bikes, clothes, shoes, time, whatever I can, right, to the community where I come from that I used to be a part of destroying. Now I'm a part of the solution. And I don't glorify anything I did, from being in gangs to, cliques and things like that, because I was actually doing that from hustling to everything. Like I was hustling in high school. I was one of those people that was, like I said, just quite known. But when you don't know any better, you don't do any better. I didn't have the proper guidance. I didn't have, I was fascinated with the guys that I seen growing up around me, right? I had one of them neighborhoods where it's real like tight knit, where it's like, you have to be put down in order to be associated with the neighborhood. You got to know your knowledge. You got to have your street knowledge. You got to be, you have to. It was like a programming over there where I'm from to everyone, even the females talk the same. Like the people that's across the street from us, we'd be like, okay, the guys from across the light or the guys across the street, everybody has the same terminology or same tattoos. It was like ingrained and programmed in you, from that standpoint. There was a lot of violence and things of that nature. I won't go into details, but I come from a place where it gets ugly. And I've seen the more beautiful side of that as well. So when I went to prison, that was probably the worst time of my life, but it was also the best time because it was necessary. It was needed in order for me to wake up, because at first I was in and out of jail. Um, of course, hustling and stuff like that. 2 months here, 3 months there, things like that. And then of course I go do 2 years, do a little bit of time on parole, and then it's like, okay, this isn't what's up. Like I like to be out here being a free person. I like to, be with my kids and not watching them grow up. And I know for a fact, because I've always been smart, I've always been brilliant. I just didn't know how to direct that energy. So I knew that being in there wasn't for me because of course I can't be out here to make sure that my kids are getting the guidance that they need and to ensure that I'm able to become who I'm meant to become. Because I knew that being in there, it was lame. Like, what I'm saying? The people that were in there were lame. And I know that we would never be around each other or associate with each other if it weren't for me being in that situation that I was in. So in order to ensure that I was never in a circumstance like that around those people that I do consider lame and that I know aren't cut from the same cloth as me, I had to do something different. So of course, what I did is I actually and I didn't even become conscious right after I got out, but consciousness found me. And I was around 28 or 29, and of course, when it did, what ended up happening is I learned about credit. I didn't know about credit. They don't teach you credit where I come from, right? Financial literacy, financial education, and credit is a part of that. I didn't learn that until, like I said, about 28 to 29 years old. I'm 35 now, and I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that book changed my life. At first, I thought reading was for nerds. I thought it was like the lamest thing you could do. Of course, I read in jail, like, nonfiction books or fiction, whichever one is the fake ones or whatever. And, I was like, just passing time, just passing through, right? And then, of course, I read that book, opened my mind to building wealth, right? How the wealthy use debt to build wealth and create empires and scalability. And then, of course, financial education and the root of all that. And then my life just completely changed, man. Like I said, it changed the way you look at things. The things you look at change, and I'm a true believer in that. And like I said, that's why now I give back the way I do. That's why I focus on personal development the way I do as well.
That's always great, man, to hear that. That's inspiring, because a lot of people, I myself, did the exact same thing. Grew up in the exact same type of neighborhoods. When you're young, growing up in the hood, you don't have very many role models. Like you said, they didn't teach you credit. Wasn't nobody out there teaching us, compound investments. And if they were teaching us any type of compounding,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I believe that all of that was what gave me the edge in finance. Do you think your hustling days and the life in the streets prepared you?
Yeah, and I'm not glorifying this by any stretch or means. It's just what shaped me. So one, you learn social skills, especially where I'm coming from. You learn to decipher what's going on, right? Who's who, what's what, and what's about to happen. Because if you can't identify certain things, it can be a whole, maybe let's say shootout or a whole click fight or a whole anything else going on and you weren't aware to be able to pick up on it, right? Or you had certain people that were, like I said, just being a hustler, of course, dealing with different people. You get certain sales skills. You learn how to talk. You learn how to communicate. You learn how to differentiate yourself from other people. And of course, you have to be wise because if you're not, you will get screwed over. And of course, I was one of them people. Like I never became a millionaire, but I did get it in, you know. And of course, I kind of had my little side of town locked up. If anyone had something that came through me. And one thing that I always knew was if I didn't spend any of my money and I put it all back into my product, I can get more and essentially make more money, which is just reinvesting those products. I mean, your profits, right? So you're essentially retaining your earnings at that point, right? So essentially what you're doing is you have, you earn your revenue and you have your net income, you have your profits, right? What's left over if you pay your expenses, and if you take that and reinvest it back into it, you can grow your business. And that's what people do to grow their businesses now. And that's actually how you avoid taxes because you pay taxes on the profits you make. But if you don't have any profits to show for it because you reinvested it back into the business, that's a cheat code. Then of course you don't pay taxes. But yeah, that's actually it. Yeah, yeah. So it actually shaped me, man. Like I said, just learning those social skills. And it helps me. I'm in the sales industry now. I work a regular job. I'm a regular person. I'm in the sales industry, and of course, those social skills that I learned, the ability to learn how to talk or finesse where I come from, because if you weren't finessing, you were getting finessed. And of course, you have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And of course, I learned how to build a business essentially, just by asking people if they needed what I had, packaging it, branding it, and of course, learning that money management. Because if you fumble the ball, if you fumble the bag, you fumble the money, you got to be able to get back on. So, of course, you learn to save, you learn to be frugal and or go with that. At least if you want to be successful. That's what I learned because I seen a lot of people that didn't get to where I went to where I got to. And I actually had a guy from my street, a guy I look up to, and he seen me like doing my thing. He was like, hey, where you at right now? You either finna go all in and become something else, or you're gonna likely have to put this down and make sure you're here for your kids. And of course I chose the latter. Of course, jail was a big influencer of that, but of course everything worked out in my favor at the end of the day. But yeah, being in the streets, it helped me like it's personally because I had a buddy who was like, man, working a job helped him learn certain skills. Well, being in the streets helped me learn leadership because of course being in the clique or in the gang or whatever, you have certain hierarchies. Everyone wanted to be that guy. And of course, in order to do that, you had to be able to move up. And of course, you had to be a leader of people, an influencer of people to get people to move for you because we had a younger group of people under us that were like, I wouldn't call them toy soldiers, but they were definitely willing to do whatever we said at any given time just because of who we were. So having the leadership capabilities, having those social skills, and of course, ultimately learning how to manage funds and, create a business is what I did with what I learned in the streets.
You know what? That's exactly how I did it
Yeah, yeah.
from that part of my life. And I just related it to business. And this really, let's just go ahead and say it. Most of you guys know how to do everything that you need to be able to do to run a business. You do it every day. You do some form of investing or budgeting. You market. You tell people about your new iPhone. You tell people about the new car. That's marketing. That and believing in it. You gotta believe, man. That energy and mindset is hands down the key. That's the difference. That is the difference between someone who, like, two people can go through the exact same situation. One person can be traumatized and broken for the rest of their life, and the other person could literally use that same instance to build all the motivation that they would ever need to never go through that again and become a super successful person that helps the whole world.
That's very true, bro. And that's actually how, like, what shaped me at a point. I got down to my like last bucks, man, and I was like, man, I never want to be here again. And I started just learning the disciplines to make sure that I never put myself in that position to go without, essentially. And that belief is real key, man, because a lot of people need permission to be excellent. Whereas you have the self-starters, you have the outliers, you have the innovators. They're the early adapters. They're the ones that move the needle and change the landscape of how certain things are done. And it just comes from that belief. That's what drives you to do what you do by having that belief that it's going to work out no matter what. Like you don't have to have the perfect circumstance. That's why I said when I started creating content, I wasn't like, okay, I need to get me a tripod. I need to get me a dry erase board. I need to get me a laptop. I need to learn how to edit. I need to do this. I need to do that. Didn't do any of that, man. Bro, because they say that when you work towards your goals work towards you, right? It's just energy, it's just momentum. You know what I'm saying? But you have to, once you put it's just cause and effect, and sowing and reaping essentially is what it is.
Like with some holistic bullshit. This is actual, it's backed up by neuroscience. So there was a neuroscientist who did an experiment, and he was able to prove that like focused thought for 17 seconds starts to attract like frequency.
Mm-hmm.
After, I believe it was 68 seconds, it manifests in reality. So if you are thinking about something for 17 seconds or more, you're going to start to attract vibrations, energies, feelings, situations, circumstances of like frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sitting there all day long thinking, this sucks, man, I don't have enough money, how am I going to do it? Like, that's exactly what you're going to attract.
Yeah,
That's
of course.
exactly what you're going to get is a life of hardship, not knowing when you can pay these bills. Like, say we run out of gas, right? One person is going to say, oh shit, I'm out of gas. I can't get to work. I don't know how I'm gonna make it to work. The other person can say, damn, we're out of gas. How can I get some gas to make it to work? Same situation, but totally different fucking outcomes and ways of looking at it. One person says, damn, I'm out of gas. It sucks. I can't make it. The other is, how can I make
You
it?
know what? I'm glad you said that, bro, because the difference between those two philosophies is one that said, damn, I'm not going to be able to do this. You're turning off your brain and allowing yourself to essentially live in that instance that you're in. Where the other one says, how can I? You're formulating the question, you're postulating the question, and you're having to think about how you work yourself out of that. A lot of people, the problem with the man today is they simply don't think. And the thing about it is they mistake mental activity for thought. There's not, of course, you have mental activity going on. You're alive. You have a brain and it's firing off constantly at all times. Now, the difference between thinking and thought and postulating, formulated ideas is the creative mind, the creative side of man, because of course you have your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your superconscious mind. And of course, these different aspects create us, right? Our personality. And a lot of people are only outer directed people. So they don't see they don't understand the higher side of themselves. So they don't understand attraction, right? They don't understand cause and effect, inputs, outputs. Sowing and reaping essentially is what it is. What you put in is what you get out. And a lot of people don't understand. That's why the way that I live my life, one, I prioritize studying. My morning routine is, of course, solely just going to be me. I listen to a guy named Reverend Ike in the morning time. That's how I feed my spiritual side of myself. I mean, of course, I have different audios and things that I listen to feed that side of me. And then, of course, I work out, right? In the morning time, that's when I'm my best self. That's when my energy is the highest. My mental capacity is the highest. That's when I get my best work done. Get in there, give me a great workout in, because we operate in the physical body. Bob Proctor he once was quoted as saying, "You are spirit, you have an intellect, and you occupy a physical body." So mind, body, spirit, right? So of course I'm always feeding my mind the right things. I'm always digesting the right types of information that cause me to grow and become better, because that's the name of the game, right? Personal development. Who do you become? Who we become is our gift to God. It's our greatest gift to God. So personal development, and of course, working on my body, right? Because of course, I tell anyone, my kids this as a man, we're not sedentary creatures. This is people as a whole. We're not sedentary creatures. We're not meant to just sit like a stump on a log. You have to move your body and get it moving, especially if you want to have optimal health throughout the later years of your life. And then, of course,
When people say, oh, well, I don't have to work out, but my job's pretty physical. I'm like, dude, shut up. Shut up. Like, it's not that physical. I've worked like roofing jobs. I worked in an industrial tire factory for like 3 years. It sucked. It's hot, miserable, burned all the time, and like heavy. Like everything was heavy, hot. It sucked. So, I mean, like, and I still left there and went to the gym because you have to push your body past its limits if you want growth, right? Now you can you can get to a point where you get your body in an anabolic state. You're eating the right shit. Like he said, you got to feed the body the right stuff first. And honestly, feed it less because people, you overeat way too much. Like the first thing, it's like, I think it's like 3 hours out of your day is just spent with thinking about and eating breakfast and lunch. It's like 3 hours out of every day. So that's, and people say they don't have enough time or money. That's always their excuse, right? Like why they haven't started investing or started a business or, done anything that's like that. Well, when I get some extra money, I will. There's no such thing as extra money. You're never going to save the extra money like working and trading time for energy. Time for money, it's not going to happen. And for time. So what I always do is I make for 3 days, I make them go and time block their entire day. Like, and if they're really being difficult, like I'll make them do every 15 minutes. Like, no, what did you do? 15 minutes, the next 15 minutes. And like, after like the first day, there's no way they can give you that time.
Yep.
So if I can get how much time is spent being distracted, how much time is spent not furthering themselves or their purpose at all. And that's why you're not getting it.
Bro, I'll tell you this, because I work 70 hours a week. So in the midst of working 70 hours, and I did the math, you only have about 150 some hours a week. So in the midst of that, of course, I still have to sleep, and that occupies about a third of the time already. You don't have 24 hours. So you get 8 hours at work, and I take that to the max. I work about 12 to 14 hours a day. You get 8 hours of sleep. Of course, I'm operating on about 6. And then the other 8 hours is what makes you rich, right? That's what changes your life. That's what, because you have a time frame where if you're building yourself up mentally, physically, emotionally, and don't forget the money financially, then of course that's where life change happens at. So you can spend your time studying. You can make time to work out. People are like, oh, I got the kids, I got this. They make a million excuses. Man, what's stopping you from doing squats right now? What's stopping you from dropping to the floor doing some push-ups right now? What's stopping you from running in place right now? Well, it's willingness versus ability at that point. You're unwilling. You have the ability to do it. It's nothing stopping you. You're just making those excuses because you don't aim to truly be better. Like you can ask people if they want to be rich. The answer will likely be yes. But there's false advertisement because if you ask them what they're doing to become rich, they draw a blank, right? They're just saying that because it's the right thing to say, but their actions don't back it up.
What it means. Like they don't really understand what wealthy means. Like wealthy is not like an amount, it's not a number, it's not a particular asset, it's a state of mind.
It's abundance, bro.
It's a state of mind of abundance. The it's the confidence in your ability and in yourself to know that whatever I choose to accomplish in life, it's already done.
Mm-hmm.
If you wake up every day and consistently work toward your goal, it is impossible for you not to.
You're right.
Every time you do something, you get better. It's just that it's a fact. That's how it works. So if you get up today and do it and you suck at it, up tomorrow and do it again. You'll suck a little less.
A little less, yep. And you compound those
You
gains.
might not even suck. By the fourth and fifth day, you're getting fucking pretty good. Now 5 years down the road, you're literally the master and you've got subjects that you're teaching. If you wake up every day and do it. And, like I said, me and him both told you where we came from. We came from the worst place you could probably come from. We had the worst role models on the planet. My mother was a drug addict. My uncle was the plug, and I don't even know who my daddy was. You know what I'm saying? So that was my life, So, of course, I idolized the one that had the money. And where I'm from, the only ones that had the money was the dope boys.
Yep.
The ones that was out there on the block hustling, they're the ones that had all the money. Everybody else was either working their life away to barely survive, and most of them were alcoholics and drug addicts because, drug abuse starts with unhappiness most of the time. There's root causes. So I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be some sad, depressed, survivalist, mentality-based, junkie. And I thought that I wanted to be the plug, but change.
It does change the way you think, bro.
Agree with you. I mean, it sucks. Prison sucks, y'all. The worst that like the best day in there is still like mm, sucks compared to the worst day out here. But I do not regret it at all. I
Man,
don't
because
regret it
it's
at
a
all.
necessary evil essentially to that degree. It shapes you, man. And without those life instances,
I thought I had to have those things. You know, I had to have this much money and hang out with these people, and I had to carry a gun, and I had to have a chain, and I had to wear these certain Air Force Ones, and I thought that money was how I provided and took care of and was good to my family, right? Um, and then it's crazy when you get all that money and take it. Like by 24 years old, I had everything that people want. You know, they want the house and the car and the, you know, freedom to do whatever. That by 24, I had a house in Decatur paid for completely. I had a Lexus IS 300. I had two bikes and four wheeler and a boat. Like I was done, 24 years old. And then in the blink of an eye, I lost it all. I
mhm.
literally went from thinking I'll never have to worry about money or problems or any type of these, you know, and I never really did up until that point. But when you go from nothing to having something, it's like you really don't appreciate it um, until you realize what it's like to have nothing again and how fast it can be taken away. And then that's what made me actually start paying attention. Because I
No, you say you get it fast, you spend it fast. It's the fast life, man. Yeah. I did want to double back to something, bro. When you touched on eating. That is a big, big, big thing for me because, of course, I live a healthy lifestyle, bro, and I understand that what you put into your body is it's fuel and it's meant to give you life, right? You eat specifically to live because we're warm-blooded creatures. We consume calories and energy, so you have to eat in order to live. If you don't eat, you'll starve to death. Don't live to eat, right? So people don't understand because you did hit the nail on the head, bro. And this is something near and dear to me because a lot of people that I went to school with, they are overweight now. They are like they look bad, they look old. Like my skin is always glowing. I'm always looking good. I'm always hydrated. Right now, I'm on a fast. Anytime I podcast, so I fast once a week. Well, I fast every day, intermediate fasting. So I fast between 18 and 20 hours every day, regardless of the circumstance. And right now I'm at 24 hours. And by the time I break my fast tomorrow, I'll be between 40 and 42 hours. I make sure before I podcast, anytime I'm completely empty, it puts your brain in a different state. Chemically, your mind changes and your body changes as well when you aren't overeating because at that point, people, when they eat and they become sluggish or they're always sluggish and they don't have energy, it's because your body is spending time breaking down food. It's literally spending energy that you could be spending on anything else. Your body is having to use that time to break down food because you have so much in there, but you literally don't need that much on a daily basis, right? You get away with eating once. And I eat once a day when I'm not, and of course, when I break my fast, I eat once a day. And of course, I'm a vegetarian as well. So, I have, I eat raw foods, mostly life giving foods. And then, of course, like I said, I only do it once a day. So I'm always at my edge. I'm always at my peak because it puts you in a state of, survival. Like your brain is operating at maximum capacity because it's not getting bogged down with none of the bad things in there.
used to hunt and gather, and like it was wintertime, and we wouldn't gonna be able to get food today. So we would put on fat as a battery to store energy.
That's because they didn't know when they were going to get their next meal, like you said.
Really kind of feels like, you know, we're all right. We're pretty good.
Hmm.
We don't really, you know, so your brain is going to automatically seek the path of least resistance. It's going to try to find the easiest, most comfortable, feel good way it can to do something, right? And that's where you all get fucked over, man, because you let it.
People seek comfort, bro. People seek comfort, and your your success begins where your comfort zone ends. I heard Steve Harvey say that one time, bro. That's how birds learn how to fly. They literally get pushed out the nest so they can learn how to fly, bro. People, they love comfort so much. People love leisure. They love comfort, right? But if you learn to love to labor, meaning working, and you learn you love to learn, but you apply and you are always in a state of doing, you'll never live in lack. Essentially, just because you're always learning new things and implementing them, and you don't mind working. Right? No one says hard work makes you rich because you got people that don't work that often, right? That can get rich. Yeah, 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 yeah. But of course, you have to. But being people that are rich, though, they're typically the hardest working people out of the bunch. Like Warren Buffett, he's about to retire. Warren Buffett is retiring today. It's his last day running Berkshire Hathaway, which he's been running for over 60 years. Yes, it's his last day. He's stepping down. He's still going to be on the board and everything like that. But today is his last day as well. He already has a decent net worth. He's going to give most of his money away anyway.
In liquid cash. I don't know what he's got
Well,
going
he's
on.
sitting on Berkshire is sitting on almost 400 billion in cash. Berkshire itself. Warren Buffett. Well, I know the move. Well, I don't know the move that they're making, but I do know that anytime Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway is sitting on cash, it's because they believe that a downturn is looming. So that means that they're getting prepared to be greedy when other people are fearful. And that's actually one of my investing philosophies, which is understanding that, hey, sometimes the markets take massive and drastic downturns. And when they do, you want to be able to capitalize on them because that's where new millionaires and billionaires are created. That's how Warren Buffett has such an amazing return in Berkshire Hathaway over the course of the last 50 to 60 years is because during them downturns, those are just buying opportunities, right? Sometimes a stock goes down because fundamentally the business isn't sound and the stock's price was detached from its fundamentals. And sometimes a business stock goes down irrationally just because of markets and market conditions and economic conditions, and people are scared. And then, of course, so you got to understand, is this a buying opportunity? Should I sell because this company isn't as valuable as I thought it was? Or did I just buy in at a high and, I just need to average down because I just didn't have a good entry, right? So anytime that that he has that much cash, and of course it's typically for a reason, and he's been hoarding cash for a while, and I believe it's because of a market downturn that might be looming in 2026. I think either the market will be flat or it'll go down. But either way, we should be buyers of whatever asset class that we like to invest in.
Which is something you guys don't like to do. But it's patience, man, consistency and patience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, George Soros, he told he this was like when he was still, coming up. He was a nobody at the time, but he told his wife that he was taking the car, the house, and the engagement ring, and he was selling it all. And he was making this trade. And she said, I think a lot of people, they say, oh, Bitcoin's a scam, crypto's a scam, oh, intelligence. You didn't understand how that particular market or asset even worked. You just saw somebody that posted something where they made a huge percent in 2 days and you threw some money.
Yep. Yep. That's it, man. If you want to win the game, you better learn how to play, man. And a lot of people, they don't do their due diligence, like you said, and they don't. And when you jump into something without knowing what you're doing, man, it's a good chance you're gonna lose at it, right? Like no one jumps into a pool without knowing how to swim first, at least unsupervised. If you're smart, if you want to make it out alive. And the problem with a lot of people is, bro, they're just chasing those trends and they want to get rich quick. So essentially, they want something that they haven't earned. And when that happens, you end up holding the bag. And of course, because you got to think about the markets, the equity markets, capital markets, crypto markets, whatever markets are just a place where the patient come to take money from the impatient, right? The people who don't know what's going on, they call it dumb money. The people that the dummies come in, they buy stuff at a high. They get scared, nervous, and sell because they don't know what's going on when it goes down. And then, of course, someone that is educated and an intelligent investor, they come in and scoop up those shares at a low, and they always make a profit, right? So,
At that low dip is actually raising the price of that asset as you buy it. So literally, when it drops and tanks, just buying into it at that point is gonna make it go up already. And then, like you said, that downtime always in an uptime, man. It's a game. It's a game, and you got to know the rules.
and here's the thing, games are won and lost by players. And if you have players in a game, that means that that game can easily be manipulated. And that's all the capital markets are, bro. Because when you have big moves, big sellers, big buyers, prices go up, they go down. That when you have news outlets reporting information, whether it be good, bad, indifferent, whether it's factual or not, prices are driven up and down because, of course, the marketplace is buy, sell, barter, and people are the ones buying and selling. When those irrational minded people start buying and selling assets, that's where price fluctuation comes from, right? And then prices are going to fluctuate daily. Now, what I do is I just ensure that I have a long term approach. I don't get bothered by daily price fluctuations because, of course, I know that I bought a wonderful business at a fair price or a wonderful asset at a fair price. And of course, I'm always holding for the long term. Silver, for instance, I've been stacking silver since it was around $28. Now it's pushing up eight. If it hasn't, because it came back down to 70, but now it's pushing. No, no, sir. No, sir. I'm still buying it. I'm still a dollar cost average, bro. I got some silver coming in the mail this Friday. Like I'm still buying. I still buy it. Like I'm not, it's a long term game, bro. Yeah. I could be greedy and sit here and say that, man, it's time to take profits, but I'm not playing that game. I'm playing the long-term wealth game, right? Even if I hold on to it, it's just a storehouse of value to where 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if it goes up even more, which we know it will, because all assets, especially if they have some utility or use case, industrial use case, or some utility to it, and it's a growing asset, it'll continue to rise in price and in value. If I created Apple and Apple's valuation went up to $1 trillion market cap, just because it hit $1 trillion market cap, I'm not gonna sell Apple the company, me as the owner and the creator. I'm not gonna sell it because it went up in value. That was the purpose that I bought it or created it, was so it could go up and my net worth could go up with it. Right. So of course, I'm holding it, man, and that's only because I know it's got room to grow. And of course, this is for silver because it has a very high industrial use case, whether it's aerospace, whether it's EVs, whether it's batteries, whether it's electronics and things of that nature. Solar, it has a very high use case and industrial use case. It can only go up. So here's my theory is, because one, Bitcoin and precious metals is God's money, right? It's comes from the earth and it is a finite supply. They can mine as much as they like, but you can't create any more of it. I like Bitcoin, which I do invest in now, dollar cost average into Bitcoin now.
Once you understand the metrics, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yes. That's why I like
I remember
Bitcoin,
we
because
had a
it's scarcity.
conversation a while back, and that was when I had just learned about it, and you were still kind of in the phase that I had been in previously, to where it was like, yeah, I just don't really, you know what I'm saying, ain't my thing. Because I used to be traditional finance guy all the way. It was stocks and bonds and options and that, I don't know nothing about that crypto. But when I actually started paying attention, shout out to Walt Knows Money, actually. He's the one that got me on that. Uh, I started paying attention, and I learned the metrics of how it was and how it was built and designed finitely, and to increase the rarity and scarcity. It was like, man, this is basically like digital gold.
Yes. And that's what it's akin to, is people call it digital gold, but that's why I don't invest in crypto. I invest in Bitcoin because it is a finite amount of it, because it doesn't get diluted, because it is a currency that can be exchanged. I wouldn't put all my eggs in it only because, it takes drastic leaps and drops on the regular, and that's fine. I don't care. I've watched it for enough years and I understand it fundamentally enough now to where, okay, this is a good asset that you can get into and you can invest into over time. It'll be a great hedge against inflation. And of course, like you said, since it is a finite amount, it is essentially digital gold. And it's a great way to diversify your portfolio if you understand what you're doing. So now, so it's currently when the crypto winter, which happens about every year, I decided to get in. Now I dollar cost average into that. My dollar cost silver currently, I don't care if it goes down. I'm going to be a buyer. The only thing I'm not buying at a high is equities, stocks, right? I'm not buying high at all. I don't mind if the price goes up in stocks. I will continue to buy if that happens, because a higher price point is not the same as an overvalued company, right? An overvalued company means it's too rich to own this stock from a price to book price to earnings, price to sales standpoint, it's too rich to own that stock. Right? You can have a stock that's $300 and be undervalued, and you can have a stock that's $10 and be overvalued. I'm not buying an overvalued asset, so I don't mind if a stock goes up in price because that's what it's supposed to do. Yesterday's price isn't today's price, and as long as the business is growing fundamentally and the earnings are growing in step with the stock's price, I will continue to buy that stock. So only thing I'm not buying at a high is going to be stocks. I'm not buying overvalued companies, but I will buy Bitcoin and precious metals, in this case, silver, no matter what the price is.
Right. Silver and gold for sure, precious metals is like you should do some kind of a scheduled, consistent buy, even if it's two, three, $5.
Yeah.
Like if you just took $5 to $10 every week and consistently purchase gold and silver, you're gonna end up better than you would just holding on to all of your cash and not spending. Because there's a thing in the financial world called depreciation, right? That's what you're talking about. It's like you're not you keep your way to
No.
success. You cannot save your way to a millionaire. Matter of fact, if you saved $1 million and just held on to it and didn't spend a single penny and you waited 10 years, you would still have $1 million in cash, but the buying power of that $1 million would be half.
Mm-hmm.
You don't save cash.
It's called inflation.
Build an interest rate. You have got to get some type of return on that money. That's the only way you stop working. That's the only way. You have to make your money work for you. And this is coming from someone that worked his ass off doing whatever I had to do, right? But I made my mind up that I was going to get to a point to where I didn't have to literally leave and give someone else all of my time, to where if I still work my ass off. I still wake up every single morning without an alarm clock before the sun comes up and punch the clock. But I do it fine time. Like, don't you got to sleep, you got to eat. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't really have to eat like you guys think. And let's touch back on that for I know this to be true. I got my certifications in personal training, nutrition, when I got out of prison and everything, and just got into this whole. I mean, I just got health crazy. That's directly responsible for all of my success and other avenues of life. If I hadn't got healthy and started eating right and exercising and got my body and my mind, uh, fluid and operating the right way, I never would have learned any of this. I don't think I would have had the interest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you decalcify that pineal gland, man.
There you
You
go.
start thinking some whole shit that you just ain't never thought about before. You start like brainstorming it, and then you know what you do is you stop cutting those brainstorming sessions off. That's what we do. We get so programmed, right? It's like, wow, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then when you get off, you gotta drink that beer and you gotta watch that game, and you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything's so scheduled. We gotta watch this TV show. You know, my buddy's dad watches the news every time it comes on, and I like the news comes on like 5, 6, 7 different times a day, but he has to watch every little scheduled news. I'm like, it's just part of this thing, you know. But he's like so conditioned that he's one of those rare cases that like he's just that way. We tried.
Scheduled programming, bro. That's what it's called. Scheduled programming. It's living in the matrix, bro. That's what it is, man. And it's a mental illness.
And the healthcare system. I haven't been to a doctor since 1998. That's sad, other than, you know what I'm saying, like to visit somebody. But me personally, I don't go to the doctor. I don't go to the hospital. I don't take medication. I don't have headaches. You know what I mean? I rarely get sick at all. You know why? Because my gut biome is correct.
There you go.
The whole immune system starts in the
Bro, illness starts within, either it starts in the mind or it starts in the gut. It starts in the mind or the gut, bro. It's called, there you go, dis-ease. And when you're healthy mentally and physically, you're at ease and you're able to build energy and create to a different degree, bro. A lot of people don't understand that, bro. You have literally so much that goes, and they don't understand the human body. You occupy a physical human body.
even know the things that they're doing. Like they don't realize what's happening when they're scrolling on Facebook. The people that are watching this podcast right now, they don't even understand what's happening chemically in the brain. You know, like you're scrolling through stuff that gets you excited and releasing dopamine, and that's why you get happy.
The instant
It's the
gratification,
exact
bro.
same thing that is released and attached to the opiate receptors in the brain when someone does heroin or, some other type of a drug. Like it literally is chemicals released that attach to the receptors in the brain that give you a sensation. When you work out, your brain releases a molecule that almost identically mimics the THC molecule. So that's why everybody that works out feels real good because it's literally releasing chemicals in the brain. So we talked about fasting. This is a fact. After 24 hours of fasting, your body starts to eat all of the bullshit, all the waste, all the
Hmm.
cells, all the mutated shit, all everything that didn't fucking copy correctly, that didn't, uh,
It heals itself.
everything that didn't regenerate properly and do what it was supposed to do, your body goes and eats that shit up.
The human body is a fascinating tool. The mind and the body are fascinating.
That would cause cancer, that would develop into chronic disease. First of all, chronic disease, that's bull.
It's just inflammation, bro. It's just inflammation. A lot of that stuff is just inflammation in certain areas of your body from the things you put inside it. And if you limit the things that you put in, especially when they're bad, you'll essentially reduce all of this. A lot of these problems that we have, bro, can be solved. You know this. A lot of the problems we have can be solved literally with not just by way of fasting. That's a driver. But of course, what you put into your body. If you put the right foods into your body, now you're actually giving your body. It's called life energy. It helps you sustain life at a higher capacity. And then of course after that, when you combine that and couple it with fasting, now you're able to get rid of all the bad things because a lot of people have about 7 pounds of waste in their body at any given time. So you need to clear that out. And then of course, you'll see that, you spend more time hydrating, you'll see your skin begin to clear and glow. That's why people, oh, you're glowing, you know.
Bad. And it like grew back, everything. Like well, I mean, I'm 40. I'm 40 years old. And nobody believes it. I got 5 kids, 6 kids. Right? One of them's literally 21. I got a son that's like as big as me that could go to the bar. And everybody that I went to school with looks old, man. It's crazy.
Old and
Like I'll
fat.
see them and
Old and fat. Bro, I'm in the best shape of my life, bro. I'm in the best shape of my life, man. Yeah.
muscle up, roundhouse kick people in the face.
Bro, I've never tried to muscle up, but I am ready to take it to that level right
It's
there.
my goal. I made it my goal and I killed myself forever doing a bunch of shit that I didn't even have to do. But I mean, I guess maybe I did. You get the form down, makes it a lot easier, but you still gotta have some
Bro,
amazing
I can kill pull-ups like crazy. I can kill a pull-up. That's nothing. I can kill a bunch of them.
around my waist.
Hmm.
And every single pull up and every single dip that I did, I had either 30, 40, 60 pounds hanging from my waist. And I just did that over and over and over and over. And then I learned that all you really need to do is when you get to the top, right when you get your chin over the bar, you're just going to take your elbows and tuck them back. See, that right there, that one little thing while you bring the knees up
Hmm.
gives you that little tiny push to get your chest over the bar. That's once you get over the bar, as long as you can do a dip, you got to.
Get it.
But
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're right about
hardest
that.
part is getting from here, right here, to that. It's hard as hell, dude. And you got to be strong. I make it sound like it's easy. It's not fucking easy at all. I work hard, but it's
You know what they say, hard work pays. Oh, I'm gonna do it, bro. I don't have, see, I work out at home, so I don't have the setup to be able to do it, but I'm gonna start practicing that stuff. I got one of them pull-up bars where it hangs on the door, so I'm not able to get up there like that. But oh man, that's on my list of things. That and like some Ninja Warrior,
the part. I know it's muscle.
oh, like monkey bars and stuff.
Yeah, well, they got two parks right close to here that have like a whole little workout area. They got like monkey bars, but they got uh dip bars, pull up bars,
Oh, that's cool.
and everything. Yeah, it's cool as hell, really. Like so, um, that's where every time I take the kids to the park, I gotta go over and get some muscle ups. I didn't even know that I could do them. Like I said, I was hanging those kettlebells from my waist and just kept drilling at it, and I would try and try and try and never get one. And I'd get like almost, and then you know what I'm saying? And I just kept working and working, and then like this probably about 2 or 3 weeks we went without going to the park. And then we went to the park that one day, and I just went over there and just right over it like it wasn't nothing. I was like, I've been working for like 6 months to try and do these muscle ups. And I would try my hardest and never could even barely and then fall. And I just walked up to the bar, grabbed it, and just threw myself right over it, dude. It was just like, man, it was so what? It was. That's another thing, man. When you delay that instant gratification and you work hard at something, you don't want that participation trophy shit.
Right, right.
Out, bro. I don't. Hell no, bro. If I didn't get up and go do something, I don't want your trophy.
Well, you don't want nothing that you didn't work for. And that's the problem with people today, bro. Everyone wants a result that they didn't earn, whether it be money in their bank account, whether it be a body that they had surgery to get and didn't work for, whether it be long flowing hair, no matter what, because it's honestly, bro, it's a lot of natural ways that you can get the things you want. If you want a nice body, you can work out, you can eat right, and you can obtain a certain physique that you would like, right? Want a certain bank account, you can have certain financial disciplines and certain habits that will allow you to be able to see over time. It won't happen overnight. It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be a year. You can see your financial health, your financial bank account transform over time. But everyone wants a result tomorrow that they didn't earn today. So instead of putting that time in, delaying gratification, they want that instant oh, I want it right now. Boom, let me go get, that body right now. Mhm. I think, bro, my biggest problem is, and it's not even a problem, is I would rather invest instead of getting things. You know what I'm saying? Like I would rather put money up instead of getting things, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my biggest. Like that's not even a down. It's not even a downside or a problem.
No,
It's a
but it's my problem too, honestly. It's crazy that you said that because for the first time in my life, I actually almost like have money issues, but it's not money issues. It's just like liquidity issues because if I had any extra cash, like, and sometimes that budget will be so fucking tight, man, that it's like, you know what I'm saying?
bro. You don't need that much money to live on a weekly basis,
I really don't need all that. Like,
bro.
so
After
goes into an investment.
yeah,
And anybody that knows me knows that I can't stand working hard to get this invest some money, generating some income, and then take it out. What? Hell no, I don't want to take it out. No, what do you mean?
yeah. You got to be able to work for you, bro, and compound. When I get any funds, it don't matter where it comes from. It can come from me buying and selling stuff. It can come from my paycheck. I don't care where it comes from. Basically, I'm investing a percentage. I'm saving a percentage. I'm always in a state of giving in an abundant fashion. And then, of course, I pay my bills and then I live on the rest. So even if I have a surplus, at the very least, I'll move most of it to my high yield savings. I can give me $200. I can promise you I can make it through the week and until I get some more money. You don't need that much money to live. A lot of people, they live way above their means. Now, don't get me wrong, you can increase your means or you can, earn more money. But the extra money that I earn, I put it towards more investments or more savings and things like that. And of course, my savings is in an account that's earning for me. But my biggest thing is making sure that I want to have a surplus. See, I'm one of the people where I want to be rich for real. I don't want to look rich. I don't need to buy things, shoes, clothes, different things that give me status symbols. I want to actually be rich for real. So I buy assets. You know what I'm saying? I invest. I put money into a savings. It gives you that peace of mind. So you're not in survival mode. You're able to actually sit and think and create and build momentum and build energy towards the financial future that you like. So I'm a minimalist, bro.
I mean, me and you do, obviously, but like you guys like struggle financially. If you had an entire week, worry about bills. You didn't have to worry about car payment, rent. Like you had a whole week to where you could just sit back and chill. That's what you can do with just a couple of smart investments, a little bit of patience, and smart investing. That's it. That's all you can literally get yourself to a surplus. And once you're in a surplus, you really all that anxiety goes away.
Hmm.
Or really once you realize that you're capable of generating whatever you need or surviving without all the shit you think you need, then it goes away. And then you can actually start to live and enjoy your life and do the things that you want to do. And then, like, I think it's a byproduct.
Oh, it is. Yeah, yeah.
As a matter of fact, all the people that are doing that, they might run a bag up, but they ain't never gonna keep.
Mm-hmm.
I know that because I used to do the same thing. I'd chase the money. I was one of those, like you said, you can either live what you think you need to feel happy, and I relate happiness and wealth is basically kind of like, no, not happy, temporary, momentary sensation or feeling.
Yep.
And it is based on happenings. Think
Yep.
about it. Happiness is completely
It's external. It's externally driven. Where contentment is just within, right? If you're content with, like me, I'm content with not having to have things. Because I tell my kids this all the time. People that always have to have something will ultimately never have anything, right? And if you buy things you don't need, eventually you'll end up selling things that you do need. Right. So I don't, it's not a, I'm content, bro. I'm content with being frugal because I want to build wealth, right? So any extra money I get, it's no lifestyle inflation. It's investing in its savings inflation. I put more into those areas to get me where to my goals faster. I'm not trying to get more liabilities or get into debt more based on my current lifestyle. I want to get to where I want to go fast, and I want to supercharge my investments. That's why I'm currently working 2 jobs. My other job is paying off my car and it's fueling my investments, as well as I'm, paying my bills, my regular money that I had going on because I was already doing the things regularly. And now I'm just supercharging what I already have, right? Because I don't need to go get a new pair of shoes all the time. I don't need to go get a new, pair of pants, shirts, clothes, whatever, all the time. Jewelry, I don't need to go do that. That's not my priority. My priority is, hey, how can we get rich? I'm trying to do it in a, so I say it's a marathon, but at a sprinter's pace. So I'm running the marathon, but I am sprinting, but I'm not concerned with how fast it happens, right? I want it to happen as quickly as it can, not saying next week, but how can I make this happen in 20 years instead of 30? Can I cut it down to 15? Things like that, right? And in certain habits and mindset, it's a mindset and a temperament thing. If you can delay gratification, which is all that is, investing is just delayed gratification. Because you can take that, like you said, you can take that same money that you could buy that pair of shoes with, and you can put it into an investment account and let it compound and appreciate in value. And then, of course, save up for that liability, right? It's assets versus liabilities. People don't understand assets, liabilities, incomes, and outflows, right? It's a thing. And once you get that down pat, once you understand the difference between those, then you can essentially ensure financial stability.
you were naming off like how you would, spend your money or budget. Probably, I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but he said investments first. All of these other things,
Then the bills. Then the bills.
then pay yourself first.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Always pay yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody else gonna give a damn about paying.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. They'll come next week. They'll come tomorrow.
You gonna get to pay them next month too, and the month after that. They're gonna never stop.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got that much time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get some shit together and get your life together. Otherwise, them bills is going to pile up.
Mm-hmm.
But pay yourself first, man, for real. And don't try to get in the habit of not having a bunch of money sitting around or things sitting around. Like if you're buying something, buy something that's going to make you money, right? That's the difference between an asset and a liability. A liability is something that you're going to have to pay for, or that is somehow you're somehow tied to an obligation to this thing, right? That is a liability. You want as little liability as possible, and you want as many things that are going to make money as you can.
Minimize liabilities, maximizing assets. That's the name of the game. You're basically funding your future. You're funding your retirement and your future selves comfort in life. If you want to be comfortable, don't choose comfort now. delay comfort and gratification now so you can get it in your later years. So you're not working until you're 70, waiting on the government to ensure that you'll be able to get checks every month when you retire. You can be your retirement plan. You can be your 401k plan if you have the right mindset and the right habits.
Plain. Um, they think that we're crazy for spending all of our time working and investing, and like you said, you got two jobs and this and that. I never stop. I've always got shit going on, and everybody thinks, well, why you spend all your time working and all that. And I said, well, let's really think about this. Am I really spending all my time working? Right? Because I'm gonna bust my ass for 3 to 5 years, run up enough money and do smart investments to never work again. Right? So 3 or 5 years, yeah, I spent all of my time working, planning, prepping, building for the future. You got me. But you're gonna work for the next 75 years, 40 hours, 50 hours a week, every week, day in and day out, until you're too old and disabled to do it anymore. And then you're gonna retire with nothing. And you're gonna literally spend all your time sitting in a recliner, taking prescription medication.
Don't end up like that. If you're watching this, don't end up like that. And your life can change in a year. I'm not gonna lie, your life can change in a year, man. That's all it takes. You build the habit. It takes 90 days to build a habit.
Familiar with Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that the workload will expand or retract to suit the time frame. Right? That's all the successful people are using. But they're doing it in the reverse. Like, okay, we've got a year's worth of work that we've got ahead of us, right? I'm gonna fucking try to find a way to cut this whole year worth of work down to 4 months. Right? The workload will expand or retract to meet the time frame. It's just like when we were kids, we had a test. We knew this test was coming 6 weeks from now, right? But I ain't studying for that damn test till the last 2 days, maybe the night before. Like I'm gonna cram some studying in the night before. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole 6 weeks, but it wasn't 6 weeks worth of work. Take that 6 weeks worth of time and work it into one day, right? That's Parkinson's law, and you can use that. It's leverage. Take the things you have. First of all, I don't want to hear that bullshit. You ain't got enough time, right? I literally have 6 kids, and I never have time for anything.
Yeah. That many kids. You got a few things going on.
Guess what I was doing? Working out. Guess what happened? Somebody saw me from the gas station, looked down, saw me working out. They stopped doing what they were doing. They come down there, started working out. Then we ended up getting a whole website development session in with just went over some logos and some design work. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful day. All this with 5 kids and a baby. So I want it's crazy, man. You got time. You just need to manage it a little better.
Hey, man, you hit the nail on the head. Cause I actually gotta get to editing or finish editing some content and start posting online for the day. I got certain time windows, but I did want to leave everyone with some parting words, man. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? And what you become is gonna be way better and beneficial to your life than anything else that you possibly can imagine, right? The reason why you're not a millionaire, and this is the same for me, is because I'm not the millionaire version of myself yet. Now I am becoming the millionaire version of myself and I'm working towards it, but I'm actually putting in the work and the action to do it. And you got to ask yourself if you're doing the same thing. Prioritize your health, prioritize studying, prioritize your finances and your financial health as well. And then of course, be the curator of your world, right? Your network equals your net worth. So if you're in a room full of people that aren't where you want to be, then you'll always be where you are, right? But if you can elevate yourself, and you have to be a value-based person, you have to add value to people. Adding value is simply leaving people in better positions than they were when you first met them, right? A lot of people are subtractors and they're not attractive. They're not adders. They're not adders into equations. So be an adder to any equation that you're in and ask, what can I do for you? Don't just look to get your hand out and get and receive. Look to be a good giver. Give graciously and receive willingly. You know, be a willing giver and a gracious receiver, and don't think about it. Right? If you have to think about it, you're not giving, you're trading. And then, of course, the more you learn, the more you earn, and I mean that in the realm of investing or and in life, period. But you have to apply what you learn. You can sit here and go through life. You can sleepwalk through life, or you can dream with your eyes wide open, and you can go build the life that you want. You're a creative being. You have the ability to create and manifest the world that you want, and use your power to do the good in the world that you seek. Be an amazing person, ethical, moral, and do everything in your power to shine your light as bright as you can for everyone that you come into contact with. You can find me at Stock Market J on every platform. Um, and man, I peace, love, and happiness, peace, love, and light to everybody.